another episode of Transformative Healing Mondays with our goddess Queen Mother of Healing in the building. Queen Mother Shaniquewa Lino is in the building. And we got a special guest, a special request. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to bring on who y'all been waiting for, Her Majesty, New York in the house, New Yitty,
Let's go.
getting gritty in the building. Shaniquewa Lino, bang, there she go.
Peace and love, everybody. Peace and love. I am definitely happy to be here. Um, Thank you, God, for having me. I appreciate it. Love this show. Love the platform and how you use it. And today I'm choosing to shed a little light on how us sisters are aware to bring in our nations. So the topic of doula and becoming a midwife and labor and delivery is something that I'm trying to touch on and bring some shed some light to and just share some information. Um, I have had my own experiences in the hospitals where the topic of what they call medical racism is a very serious issue and matter regarding um, melanated mothers. Something that I wasn't aware of how that actually played out or how I actually could be affected by that to the extremity that I could or my children could until I've had my own personal experiences. So I'm starting to take not just knowing how to heal yourself, but knowing how to bring in the children that are coming into this world that we're rearing from the time that we conceived them, and even prior to that. That's a whole process. That's a very spiritual thing. Um, Knowing the blood types that we have, who we're conceiving with, and what that would create for our children, what we would need to be interested in knowing how to take care of those children because of what their needs would be, knowing certain information, right? Because they say uh, some of the things that we eat is not even for our blood types, and not that they say, but that is can be proven, scientifically, through tests. How your blood reacts, how you react, how physically the growth of you, the mental and cognitive forming, you know, um, responds to what you put inside of you. A lot of that has to do with your, genetic makeup, your DNA. So, and your DNA. So, um, if we control all of that from the beginning to the end, or become a not more knowledgeable, so that we can have more control over it, we don't have to become, so to speak, victims when we go to hospitals and when we go to clinics and they're doing things or recommending things to us to adhere to and follow up with, because at that point you're a sheep, you're an experiment, and you're at the mercy of the hands of your oppressor and their teachings and their for their experimental foreplay, so to speak. And I've had experiences where I definitely was an experiment, and they actually bought papers of you know experiment and study that they wanted me to participate in because of some of the factors that surrounded me as a healthy, childbearing, melanated woman with some of the things that they were looking for that were favorable for their studies. So there was things that I wasn't always told, and there's things that I was presented with directly. So, for instance, um, I'm just going to name several different instances that occurred. One, I was pregnant with one of my children. By the way, I have 6 children, and Shaniqua Lino is the name. Shaniqua E. Lino. I am a what they would refer to as an oracle seer, a medium, a healer, um, telepathic, empathic. I have a deal of, abilities like we all do. But those are the ones that I particularly have come to be pretty pretty much more, more profound with.
Well
So,
known for.
huh?
Well known for.
Oh, okay. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Well known for, well known for.
You
And
gonna
the
introduce
other,
your guest?
oh my goodness! Wait a minute. I was
Ooh.
gonna. I guess how could I? Wait, hold on. First of all,
No, no, no,
um,
no, 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 no. Keep your flow going. Bring me in later. You got it.
oh heck no, no, heck no, heck no, heck no. That ain't my guess. I'm a fan. You mean the fan introducing introducing the dog of the guest of the day, the man of the day, Dr. Enki. Dr. Enki is in the building. Hold on, I didn't know I was. Wait a minute. Oh, forgive me. What?
Blood
Rewind.
fire. Blood fire. Blood.
Wait a minute. Like, but what they do? But where the gun at? Where the fire at? Where the payload at? Oh, come on now. Minister Dr. Enki is in the building. Let me show some respect. I did not know I was introducing you. Pardon self.
I got some.
Okay. Hold
Wait,
on, wait a minute.
here we go.
Hold on.
Wait, I got a better one. I got a better one. Let me see what we got.
Everybody stay. Oh, oh snap. Come on now.
We got the sold out stadium joint.
For real though. No, for real. You don't even need an entrance. Come on now. It's grand. The, the Grand Master. What?
No. But I was actually following your story. I want you to keep going in. I'll come in.
Well, okay. Well, first of all, is there anything that you would like to add on to what I said?
Yeah, definitely. I definitely got a few things I would like to add on. So that's why I want you to keep on flowing and
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna make sure I wrap it up because I want you to get in there and I don't want you to be limited at all. Okay, because I know we could both flow. I know we got it. So quickly, one thing I actually participated in a breastfeeding study. They wanted me to they wanted to know if I wanted to coach. I did participate. It was non-invasive. I did have particularly a situation with my last pregnancy at that point where I didn't have enough support. It was just overwhelming, a little bit, stressful to be able to nurse. And I just wanted to be like this mommy, perfect mommy that I nursed all day, didn't touch chemicals, la la la, beautiful sounds, good aromatherapy environment, and it wasn't working that way. So also my son was latching on the wrong way. He had a cleft, which I didn't know affects the way the baby feeds, and he started to affect my breast in a painful way. So I was open to taking the assistance of the breastfeeding coach, the nursing coach. Make a long story short, I had actually had what they call raspberry nipple, where the baby sucks until the point where the baby winds up tearing all the skin off of the nipple, and it's like the nipple splits in half like it looks like open like a raspberry. And mine was so fleshy red and bright. They didn't get when they seen it how I was feeding to that point. They was like, "Wasn't you in pain?" I said, "Yeah, I was in pain. I was like sliding down the door in pain." And they was like, "Well, why would you keep feeding like that?" I said, "Because I thought that I was doing a good thing, and I didn't want my child to go hungry, and I didn't want to give them him the infant milk." I said, "But it's so much pain, I couldn't take it no more, and I didn't even realize that my breasts were in that condition. I just felt like the sharp pain that was so numbing that it would literally make me close my eyes. It felt like I was passing out. It hurt so bad." So to make another long story short, that's a study that I participated in. They know a lot of mothers don't have support or the knowledge of what occurs during nursing. That was the only good study that I participated in that I think I want to bring to the light of a lot more mothers. And it was interesting because what they wanted to know, even though it was a good supportive study, they wanted to really know like how these babies were turning out and following up with them. I didn't think about that when I said yes, but at now that I think about it, because they stay with you for a year, they want you to tell them the follow up of the baby's visits and what the baby's um, um, chart looks like and stuff like that. And they make it like if they are so interested in the wealth of what nursing did for the child, but they really were looking at other information. So again, it wasn't invasive, but there's a lot that you can take and get from studying how and how someone is doing progressively, and from charting information that is taken from blood work and such and such. And because the hospital that I was at is a research hospital, that particular hospital, which was Albert Einstein Montefiore, that's a research center study hospital, which a lot of people are not aware. Some of these hospitals that you go into, they're
Wait,
not community, they're private.
you
You
in
gotta do, huh?
you in New York?
Yes, I'm in New York.
Oh, so you in the Bronx?
Yes, I'm in the Bronx.
I used to live right there on Gun Hill Road and Bainbridge, right across the street from Montefiore.
What? Oh my goodness. Listen.
Yeah, I had children in Montefiore and all that. But go ahead.
Okay, so that was one study. I also was told that I had something called HPV, which they're telling a lot of mothers and a lot of young people now that they have. And I was devastated because I was pregnant. Anything, I get very protective when I'm pregnant. You can't sniff me, touch me unless you're the father. Don't put them down there. Not even the rags I use, like whatever it is. I get very, very protective. And they told me that I was gonna need to get this blue purple dye put up in me, because if not, I was gonna grow tumors while I was pregnant, and that I could lose the baby or lose my life. So I don't know what came over me, but it was just my own intuition and my own spirit that said, don't do that. If it's meant for you to die, you're gonna die. If it's meant for you to lose your child, you're gonna lose your child. But don't let nobody touch that child. Don't let nobody come up in your womb while you're in that state. And I listened to that. And I told them no. And they said, well, ma'am, they said, ma'am, are you sure? Like, you're putting your pregnancy, at jeopardy. And I said, well, if you put that dye up in me, I feel like you're putting my baby at jeopardy. And I don't know what you're doing, and I don't know how far and what type of effects that could have. So anyway, make a long story short, what they said I had, that just don't go away, right? They said they seen little tumors in my womb. So after I had I delivered, I had a clear GYN checkup. I didn't have anything that they said. And that just don't go away. So that's a misdiagnosis, or somebody's lying for experimental purpose. And I was so mad, but at that point I was so happy I had my baby home.
Wow,
It
that's
kind of
crazy.
just, oh
That's
yeah,
crazy.
it just like kind of like left my mind. But I didn't forget it, but I just wasn't as aggressive because I was so engulfed in my baby being home. So that was another experience that I had. And I felt like I could have sued because I had this on record, because that's something that they actually put down and diagnosed me for, and they wanted to do treatment. But I was then told too that you can't sue for something that you didn't get treatment for, that you didn't actually go through with. And I was just I was like, Dad, that's messed
Right,
up.
because they don't really consider mental, emotional, like they don't consider that
Uh-huh.
in regard to how that translates to your child, because any emotions and mental states that you're going through, you're going to produce subsequent, hormones, and you're going to create like your child is going to be exposed to that biochemistry based on the emotions and mental states you're going through. So all of that affects, it's crazy what's going on. But anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. Now that was I think the second one I said. It was so many, but I just want to point these particular ones out because I know there's a lot of women that went through this, and it's important that they know that these things they stay clear of, and or make sure they get a second and even third opinion, because it happened to me. And it's crazy what they're doing in the name of research. And if you don't know any better, and a lot of people don't know any better, they play on fear. Everything is about fear. You get scared. Yeah, go ahead, test me. Oh, make sure I don't have that, and you're going to do it. And you trust them because you think that they are taking this stuff to labs and, oh, that can't be a mistake. And it's not even a matter of mistake. They're just straight lying. Your chart gets pulled out for research. And how do I know? Because both my, I don't want to put anybody in trouble. I knew two people that were very, very close to me, extremely close to me, that were working in the research department of the hospital. So I know this information because they worked there. So now, besides that, the next thing that happened to me, they actually did misdiagnose me. And they did do work on me, and they said that I needed to get a coloscopy. And this was after I had my first daughter. And they told me that I needed that a coloscopy was needed because what they saw, and they actually showed pictures of this to me, was what they call chronic inflammation. And they said they seen it at 12 o'clock. 12 o'clock is up in the top of the uterus, right? 3 to the side, 6 to the bottom, 9 to the left. So I don't know any of this. I'm 18 years old. I just had my daughter. I only have one partner. I'm not promiscuous. And as far as I'm concerned, the only thing I caught it from their dad, if I caught anything. And what I had was a bad yeast infection after I delivered my daughter. And it was maybe like a week later or so, or two, something like that. But I know I was ashamed to go to my mom, and I didn't want to look like I did something nasty, or, I was nasty and being promiscuous. So I didn't tell my mom. Here goes the lack of support and the lack of the circle, that a lot of us women, especially the way we think of ourselves, have began to form because of a lot of the social, issues that we have with the women in our communities, and then with how we think the men think of us. So it was just a whole bunch of factors around that. So I just said, okay, let me go to the doctor. I know one thing, I was going to the doctor, and I was like, God, Lee, I can't close my legs. My lips were parted, self, TMI, but down there was sticking out to the point I couldn't walk around. And all I had was a yeast infection. And why did I have a yeast infection? Because before I delivered, they had me on antibiotics before I delivered, because I was in labor for 2 days, 2 whole days, no food, like in active labor, like for 2 days and 7 hours. At that point, for my last 7 hours, I couldn't take no more, because I had 2 inducements and I was trying to do natural. That's my first daughter. I didn't want to have no pain reliever. I didn't want no drugs up in my system, nothing touching my baby again. I get protective when I'm pregnant. So even in the delivery process, I was like, no, I'm going to take the pain, but I couldn't take no more of them last 7 hours. And I was like, whatever you got to put it in there, tap it up. I'm done. I was my shiro for the last 2 days. I'm done. Chewing on ice. I was going delirious. So, with those antibiotics going in my body, because they were rinsing out the good bacteria, the good flora in my vaginal, it caused an imbalance. So it gave me a yeast infection. That's what antibiotics do if you have them in excess. Mind you, I'm in labor for 2 days and 7 hours, and they're constantly shooting the antibiotics in me. So my baby, so-called, don't have to be exposed to anything that I don't know what that is, because I didn't know I had anything. All right. But this is what they do, as they say, a precaution. Do you need those antibiotics? No, a lot of enough people don't. But okay, this is what they do. So it gave me a yeast infection, and I go and to the clinic, the community clinic. Now, a community clinic where they do a whole lot of research, and they take a whole lot more blood than they would at the Department of Mental Health and Hygiene. I'm trying to sum this up, brother. So when I went, they told me that I had chronic inflammation. I goes to Bronx, Lebanon Hospital, have this procedure done. They actually did it on me. They took chunks of my uterus out, and I see blood all over the floor. I'm by myself. I'm looking. I go to lift up. I'm like, what is that? And she was like, oh, that happens from the procedure. Like, and I don't know. I'm like, oh my goodness, that's a lot of blood though. I mean, there's blood all over the floor. Now that I know, back then I didn't know, but now that I know you're not supposed to have no blood all over the floor. I didn't know that then. I've never been in a hospital for that. And I was by myself. So I didn't know who to tell. Well, I didn't have nobody to tell, and nobody to counsel me or tell me what was going on. All I could do was listen to what they had to say. And this is a white lady going up in me too. Okay. Go home, come back for my results. I'm devastated, because I'm like, what's going on? What I was told is chronic inflammation does not go away, and I would have to be treated for it. And that's why I was getting pieces of my uterus taken out, or chunks of it, so that they can examine it and put it under a microscope. I didn't know you needed a chunk of anything to do that, but okay. That's what they did to me. And when I went back, I said, can I have my results? And the lady told me no. And I said, why not? I know for a fact, I don't know what got into me, but I got real feisty. And I said, if you don't give me my results, I'm going to go for your license. And I don't know what the heck, else I was talking about. At that point, I didn't, I wasn't even really aware of the medical terminology, like, I am now to come at them, the way that I do sometimes. But she went to the back. She said, hold on, wait a minute. And the same white lady that did the procedure, she went, got my papers, and then she said, I'm sorry, there was a mix-up. Hold on. And I said, what? So she was like, yeah, I think we did the wrong thing on you. Or we had the wrong papers. Now, let me tell you something. You don't make a mistake all the way that far. All the way to procedure, all the way from a community clinic, all the way to referral, all the way from reviewing charts. You look and you can and you don't find that mistake, but then you find it after I asked for my papers. That's not a mistake. So she was scared to give me my paperwork, but she didn't want her name to go down. And I knew who she was at this point. Make a long story short, I did not have chronic inflammation. To this day, I don't have chronic inflammation. I have regular, clean pap smears that I can show you. I don't even have bacterial vaginitis. I don't got yeast. I don't got crap. This is a clean yoni. And this is what they did because of a lack of knowledge. I have a lawsuit for that. I didn't sue yet. But okay, that was another thing. Now, this is all coming after childbearing. This is all coming after and during me giving birth. One of the last things and most important things was I hemorrhaged after another one of my children that I had. And I hemorrhaged because the lady was playing with, again, inducement medication. And it was to induce my labor, which is something that I'm really kind of against, because when children are going to come, they're going to come forth. You can do all these things. You could drink the cow oil, the cow liver, the castor oil you want to drink. You could go ahead and do the walks. You can go ahead and put the the herbs down there. But when them babies are ready to come, they're going to come on their own time and be disturbed their natural flow into the
Oh, you funny. I got castor oil stories.
Yes, listen. Brother, I was 42 and a half weeks. I couldn't take it no more. I was crying. I didn't want to, I was sitting up. I couldn't go to sleep. I really was losing it. Like when they say you start to go delusional, it's not a lie. It's not a joke. I was telling their father to break the bag. I was like, do it now. Do it now. I can't take it. You don't understand it.
My oldest son's mom, if she hears this show, she's going to be dumb tight, but she doodled all over the place.
I did that too with my first son.
Oh my God, because we did that little castor oil program.
Oh no, it wasn't even castor oil. That was just straight force. The one that castor oil.
Castor oil worked, but it came
that
with
oil.
a caveat. Woo!
No, that castor oil did not work for me, brother. Let me tell you something. I took a whole bottle of it. And my aunt told me to take 3 tablespoons. I took a whole bottle and everything came out but the baby. I was like, oh my goodness. Then I started going into this hyper frenzy because I was like, oh my gosh, something's gonna be wrong with my baby. But I couldn't take it. And please forgive me, y'all. I'm not a bad mother. I love my children to life. But I couldn't, y'all don't know what it is to be pregnant for 42 and a half months. That's almost a year. Like I was losing it. I was so big. He was causing me to have he was sitting on a nerve that would make me fall out in the street. Like I wouldn't even get like some type of how do you call that? Like when you feel some type of pain before you go numb, like before your feet go numb. I didn't get none of that. My leg would just give out. And it was the nerve he was sitting on. And because probably he was so big, I just would like fall to the side, woof, and that's it. And I just couldn't take it no more. And I was like, I just want to see you here. Like, you're getting evicted, little boy. You got to come. Like, you got to come. So that sucker did not work. And after the castor oil didn't work, I was up and down stairs till my legs were hurting. He still didn't come. All I got was a bunch of pain and tears, but he still didn't come. And then I had got induced and he still was not trying to come.
Wait, before you went for the induce, y'all didn't try to have, sex real quick?
Well, he was getting on my nerves in, my last days. So he kept like literally TMI, right? But he probably will laugh at this if I tell her I know he'll laugh. He's a Cancer too. He was like he was like, you only hurt yourself. I was like, listen, I'm not playing with you. I'm very emotional. Leave me alone. I just need you to put your fingers up there and open this bag. And he was like, I'm not doing that. I'm not gonna hurt my baby.
Yeah. Yeah, because we get scared. We think we hitting them in the head.
Yeah, he was like, he always used to say that. He was like, just let me, like, maybe if I do something with you, like, it'll help. And I was like, you think you slick? Your fingers are good enough. I don't want you to touch me. And I don't know what he did, but
Yeah, that was a mess right there.
yeah, I was just like, listen, just do it. So he was like, I'm not putting my fingers in there. He's like, I'm gonna put gloves on. He's like, you have to be sterile. Oh my goodness. I was like, I don't care what you do, just do it. I'm not having sex with you. So, oh my God, I gave in. Actually, no, I did give in. I let him do it, and he still didn't come down. I was doing everything. He still didn't come down. I couldn't take it anymore. So yeah, when I actually got into the hospital, this lady was a white racist. She was a white racist. I was what they call bound to the bed. They said I couldn't get up because they had a catheter in me, and they put the epidural in my back, and I couldn't feel my legs. My legs were like really big. So this lady was playing with my medication, and I started to feel pain, and I was like, what is that? I was like, wait a minute, what is that? And then I realized what she did, and I had to go to the bathroom, and I said, ma'am, just let me up. And at that point, I was trying to get up so I can call their father, like, to come back, because he stayed for so long, but our son never came down. So I said, just go to work. I don't want you to, have a problem, lose your job. So she said, you could get up. She was like, she said, down south where we're from, we're workhorses. I said, workhorses? I said, ma'am, just give me my pole. Just give me my pole. So, because I already knew where she was at with that, and I knew what she was about to do. I could feel it. I felt the hatred from her. So I tried to get up off the bed, and my legs were so big, and I could barely use my legs. But I went to go try to hold on to the thing and just drag myself to the bathroom. When I got to the bathroom door, don't you know she pushed me onto the floor? Pregnant. I was really big. That woman pushed me onto the floor. And after I gave birth to my son, I hemorrhaged. I had blood all in the bed, and I didn't even feel it. You don't feel when you're hemorrhaging. So, make a long story short, the blood clotted inside my uterus, and they had to. I lost so much blood, they had to go up in there manually, and they put a cold something on, like, and a bunch of doctors just ran in the room, and this lady had to go right up in my uterus with her whole forearm. I was screaming to the top of my lungs. But I was like, ma'am, just get it out. I was like, just get it out. And then she left a whole mass of blood up in there. And yeah, so like excessive bleeding and not knowing how to stop blood and hemorrhaging and issues that women have during pregnancy is important, especially for the young people, because their body sometimes can't take the strain of what the pregnancy puts on them. They're not eating right. The young boys don't know how to deal with them. They don't know what they're going to get ready to deal with, the changes their bodies go through. And I think it's very important that we get serious about how to bring our children into this world, and we become way more knowledgeable, because if not, some of those situations could have been avoided. And I got way more stories, but those are just the most important ones that I've heard so many other women say that they've had, including losing oxygen and nobody listening to them. Like they would say, and that's something happened to me too. I said, I can't breathe. And the doctor told me, oh, you have to calm down. I said, no, listen to me. This is not my first child. I cannot breathe and my chest hurts bad. And literally, if my mom didn't walk in, I don't think I would have probably been here today, because I wound up getting the oxygen and that I needed. And after that, I was able to continue to deal with the pain that I was getting to deliver. It's no joke. But Dr. Anki.
Okay. So let me give a few few little pieces. You just gave us so much there in those stories. Let me just give a few. Now, people, feel free. Let me tell you what I'm gonna do.
Oh, I love it. Get him.
I'm gonna tell y'all what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna give y'all a few, touch on a few pieces. So if you have the book, I'm gonna talk about a few things from page 397. Right, so you can flip that open. 368. Maybe even page 235. We have a couple of sections on pregnancy and fertility, right? So we have in fact, I guess in one way, the entire beginning of the book could be on pregnancy because it's about eating. And so
Yeah.
I think the biggest problem I was talking about on a previous interview was the fact that so many of our children come unplanned.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know, so most of us are, you know, we're partying, we drinking, we smoking, we doing, you know, drugs, whether they're recreational drugs or whether it's drugs in the food, and we're just going crazy. And you know, then we're pregnant. You know what I'm saying? Just bam, we're pregnant now. And so a lot of issues could be resolved if we planned pregnancy. Like, okay, listen, I want to plant a baby in you September so we can have a baby for June, July. And since we're trying to plant the baby in September, we're going to start back here in January and give a 9-month, you know, like we're going to rebuild, you know, we're going to rebuild up your mineral stores, your nutrition. Like we're going to cleanse, we're going to do all these things. So by the time it's time, like a gardener would till the soil and make sure the soil is fertile before getting, you know, putting plant seeds in there.
You talking my language? That's what I'm talking about.
Right. So that's the first thing that we should be doing. So it's a couple of different sections in the book. Everybody, Eat Right for Your Haplotype. Get it. Tons of information in there. Now let's get to some of this information. Oh, this is PMS. That's probably the one. That's probably the one. That's the wrong section right there. All right, so
is it? Shoot, a lot of women are falling into that by default.
right. That's some other issue. But one of the main things that I found out was important, especially with a lot of women having miscarriages and stuff like that, is we don't have conversation about the glycocalyx, right? The glycocalyx protects the plasma membrane, right? This is very important. It protects the plasma membrane. It's like a little afro that sits out on top of the cells. And as cells become tissues, you have this little fuzzy lining across the tissues in our intimate spaces. Very important, though. It serves a variety of purposes. It protects the membrane. It signals the HLA system, the human leukocyte antigen system. Very important in terms of immunity. It forms the base for your blood tissue compatibility, which may be an issue if something goes wrong or whatever the case. It protects the mucous membrane. It helps, like it guides the sperm to the egg. So if we're having issues maybe getting pregnant, this could be an issue. And once the sperm gets to the egg and the egg is, you know, officially fertilized, and now it's the egg, right? Now it's an egg. It guides your, it guides that egg, right? Embryonic cells, right? Cell to cell communication. These is all based on the glycocalyx. So we don't really have any conversation. I personally, throughout 10 pregnancies, have never, ever, ever had a doctor mention, hey, you know, it'd be a good thing to make sure you're avoiding this or eating that so that you have a healthy glycocalyx. Like I've never had that conversation from a doctor or GYN or any of that. When you have ectopic pregnancies, right? A large percentage of the reason why women have ectopic pregnancies is because the glycocalyx is gone. It's eroded. Low potassium, high sodium, right? We hear about that with high blood pressure, right? In who?
Mm-hmm.
Black folks, right? That inhibits the NO production. That inhibits NO production starting at 143 moles and up. NO production stops nitric oxide, which protects the glycocalyx, which protects the intima, right? Inflammation causes you to lose your glycocalyx. So if you have inflammation in that area, that can cause you to shed the glycocalyx, which then causes a host of other issues. So this is why a lot of times they're like inflammation, inflammation's a big issue during pregnancy, pre-pregnancy, and all that kind of stuff. This is one of the main reasons why, because it leaves you vulnerable to a host of other issues. Candida, right? Candida lives in the mucous membrane. When there's inflammation and candida begins to mutate, the glycocalyx gets shed, so you lose the glycocalyx. When white blood cells reach the intima, which is protected by the glycocalyx, they become foam cells and create plaque there, right? So that's another problematic issue. Chemical pregnancies. Chemical pregnancies happen when the blastocyst does not latch on to the uterus wall, but it's the glycocalyx that's doing the latching on. So
They serve. They're like networking connectors to how things function.
all right, and so inflammation, no glycocalyx, you got trouble. So that's a big issue, right? I wanted to give people that though, because those are all
Absolutely
key to, and those are things that I think can be addressed if we have planned pregnancy and we're detoxing and making sure that we're eating crazy and woo woo woo. We're not just going to the club, blowing blood, popping pills, drinking liquor, and then hitting it raw and then getting pregnant and then trying to figure out why we're having problems with the pregnancy. You know what I'm saying?
Those are superpower pregnancies. I don't even know how some people get through that.
Well,
These women that I'm talking about.
Even just alcohol, like because alcohol is legal and the alcohol companies are so big, like it's promoted as if alcohol can't affect the pregnancy, but alcohol can affect the pregnancy because alcohol has a direct effect on the candida content in your body.
That's crazy. Alcohol
Candida.
pregnancy, a bug made me miscarry. I got bit by a bug and caught a post-secondary infection, and I miscarried at 6 months due to a kidney disorder that it caused in my baby, and it came straight from the bug.
It's
post-secondary infection.
Very fragile situation. Creating another human. So hypoxia. I think you mentioned that you was having oxygen issues. That's hypoxia, when you're not getting enough oxygen to the tissues. Hydration, high sodium, we talked about. Inflammation, we talked about. Salpingitis, any autoimmune conditions, all of these things cause the shedding of the glycocalyx. So any of those things can be problematic.
How do you raise your level of glycocalyx?
We actually have a product. We actually have a product that it doesn't necessarily raise the level of glycocalyx. But what it does is, this is one of the first products that I made called the Hair Villi. You know, I've changed the name a few times since, but that was one of the very first products because of the fact that, you know, I like making babies. But it provides the raw nutrition that your body uses. Facts. It provides the raw nutrition that your body needs.
Oh, wait. May I ask you, what do you love the best about making babies? Is it the actual process or the actual result, or everything? Like, I'm just curious. You
Well,
said
no, I definitely love the process of making them. I like pregnant sex, but I like babies. So the end result is the most rewarding for me. I like children.
Oh, so that's such a Cancer energy. Okay,
Yeah, I love children. You know what I mean?
me too.
Just
I
every aspect of them. I like to hear like their feet when they run. You know,
oh,
like I like all of that stuff. So anyway, but it's
I know.
composed of glycoproteins. So, you know, we have a specific compound designed to get, you know, a lot of glycoproteins into the body so that you can, you know, do what you need to do. You know what I mean? Get that job done. We do have a section on fibrocystic tissues, so we're not going to go over that though. But we do have a section on fibrocystic tissues.
I share that
Now,
with a sister. I know a lot of sisters with that issue. Fibromyalgia. Fibromyalgia.
well, you get fibrocystic tissues. It's kind of common in women that deal with fibroids and, you know, that kind of stuff. Now, usually, big issue with fibroids is women that like to have sex but don't like to have babies. Right? That's one of the biggest risks. So you get 25, 30 years old and you're having a lot of sex, but you're not trying to have babies. Yeah, you run the risk of having fibroids. People are like, man, that's crazy. Where did you get that from? That's just crazy. Because your vagina was designed for having babies. Like sex is the process of making babies. So when you're having sex, your body is already prepping things and releasing fluids and certain chemistries, getting ready for, you know, the whole, you know, the big deal. Thinking that he's getting ready to release the sperm in there and the game's going to begin and woo, woo, woo. And that kind of never happens. So, you know, it's like chewing gum.
Oh boy.
Your stomach unfolds and starts to fill because it thinks that you're food, like it thinks you're eating food. But you're chewing gum, so the food never comes into the stomach. You're just building up a bunch of acid. So, you know, it's just you're tricking the body. You're using the body in a way it wasn't designed. And usually that's always going to result in something problematic.
I agree.
But like I said, if we plan it, if we plan the baby, we can, you know, make sure ahead of time we're getting the nutrition in, the detox and all this kind of stuff. So,
you know, the type of baby you planning for. Because if you know that's going to be a June baby, you know, and you know your blood types, you can now predict. Well, it's not even a prediction. Like you can now definitely know my blood type and this blood type creates that type of blood type. This type of child born in this time of the year and this time of the, you know, season is going to need this type of care, this type of a diet, this type of a even just coming in with that baby's.
It's best to always aim for early spring, early summer, right? So you want to bring your child, especially like if you're, you know, if you're a Black person, that means that your bloodline goes back to a equatorial region, a warm place, hot sun. So you want to try to have your child in a warm season. Now, if you live in the South or somewhere hot, all right, just do you figure it out. You know, you may have some other personal preferences, but if you're in New York, Philly, New Jersey, you know, Chicago, Detroit, you know what I mean? If you're in a cold place, you want to aim to try to have your baby during a warm time. So at least when your baby comes into the world, it's not such a shock where they're going from a warm womb to a cold world.
Yep.
So, but every nutrient known to man, your baby needs. right? So let's just start there. That's the first thing. People are like, well, what nutrients do I need for my baby? Every one of them. Think about it this way. You're building an entire human from scratch. So every single thing that's in the body, you're going to need excess of in your body so that you can give it to the new body that you're building in there and still have enough for you. So that can become problematic where you don't have enough of a thing to give to the baby, or the baby takes it because the baby has priority, and then you don't have enough left over for yourself. So all nutrients the baby's going to need, you're going to need while you're building the baby. But DHA, right? DHA can be overstated, but you have to be careful because a lot of these canned baby foods, they're giving a synthetic. The DHA is not actually like DHA. This is like a synthetic sub lab thing that they're doing. And so it's not exactly the same. So you just want to load up your body as a woman with DHA, right? That's very important because the DHA that you load your body with is literally going to become like his or her, the child's nervous system, etc., etc. Now, you really want to make sure that you're loading up on nutrition because you never know when you're going to have twins. So you might not be just making one human from scratch. You might be making two. You know what I mean? So you got to really make sure you load up. But the brain, the nervous system, all that's going to be dependent on that. Guys, right? If we're in our 9-month period going in, you want to make sure that you're getting your B vitamins in every day. All of them. All. The whole B vitamins.
Yes, you
because,
are so
your sperm literally depend on B vitamins. Your sperm literally depends on B vitamins. So your body needs B vitamins to increase sperm volume and for the sperm to be strong enough to make the swim. Right? Both of those aspects of your sperm are dependent on B vitamins, right? And then almost as usual, anytime you need B vitamins for anything in your body, you also need increase in phosphorus because phosphorus is the cofactor for B vitamins. Now, just on a biochemical level, B vitamins, they tell you, is for energy. Phosphorus, you should all now know if you follow my channel that phosphorus produces light wherever it is. So it's just, like you can see, like in science, they tell you electricity, light, magnetism go together. You can also see in your nutrition, it's the same thing, right? Energy, light, so just think in those terms. You know what I'm saying?
What would you recommend? My personal favorite that I have personal experience with raising my magnesium really high and the iron level really high, which it did it so fast and it's full of phosphorus, is blackstrap unsulfured molasses. Oh my goodness, I swear by it. But what do you say? I got a feeling you.
I just tell people my website, but for the men, for their testicles, right? Because so much of infertility and fertility issues seem to be placed on the women's shoulders, and it's not always the case. Even yeast infection, sometimes it's the man. You know what I'm saying? But lycopene you typically find in like reds and oranges in your fruits and vegetable kingdom. Tomatoes are known for that. But that's big in terms of your sperm. Vitamin C, fellas, vitamin C. And the problem with vitamin C, just like the B vitamins, is you almost never have enough. Every time as a man, well, no, scratch that, sorry. Every time you urinate, period, man or woman, you're losing B vitamins and vitamin C. So all of your water-soluble vitamins leave your body in your urine daily. The fat-soluble vitamins, they lodge in the fat in your body, so they hang around a little bit. Your E, your D, your A. But your B vitamins, your C vitamins, they go with the fluid. So every time you urinate, you're losing some, right? And that's important. Zinc, fellas. All of this is stuff to build up the sperm. Okay, so if you listen, if you want to know if I know what I'm talking about, A, you can research all of these things as I'm telling you them, right? But B, like I told you, I have 10. I have 10 children, so I might know a thing or two about making these guys here. You know what I mean? And 2 sets of twins, no chemicals, right? So
I don't know who you think is questioning you, but it ain't me. I see that. Like, look,
hold up. No. I'm just saying that people watching, because you know it goes to the public. So I just want to make sure. Because sometimes when you tell people things that are simple, they don't trust it because it's not complicated. Like, people are always looking for a complicated or an expensive solution. So when you tell them something super simple, like, bro, tomatoes might help out your, they might help out your joint. You know what I mean? They're like, huh? Yeah, tomatoes, get you some, like it's some things are simple. But yeah, vitamin D, like there's a bunch of stuff more in the book, but those are just some keys to really make it easy and help, get you what you need. What's up, lady? Oh, you look like you're doing fine. Come on. Oh boy.
Children are just everything.
Daddy time.
For real. Okay. All right. Aw. So royalty there had to go and look at the baby real quick. And I definitely listen to Dr. Enki. I don't care what nobody say.
Yo, children are so creative at making a mess. It's crazy.
No, you mean at making art. We call it a mess.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, they're making art. Yeah, that's art.
They done took like every pillow from the whole house and laid it out throughout the hallway.
Oh, I love that. Oh, I love that. You know what? It's certain games that children play at certain ages, and they're not around to learn from other children. They just do it. And that's one of them. It's that one where they do, like with the beds, they put the sheet over and make believe that they in their own little bunker, or they create their own castle and their own little, like, fortress, and they throw the pillows down. Like most children that I've been around in their rooms, is what they do. And I wonder what is that connected to. It's a lot of things you can do. You don't have to do that. Most of them do that. And it's interesting to me. It's kind of like certain songs that we used to play or sing. Like some of them, you wonder how from here all the way to another borough, you guys are over there doing the same thing or singing something, similar like it. It's just interesting to me. I love children, so yeah, I'll be there with it.
Now, let me give you this key one, because it's not really discussed in terms of nutrition. Like, you never really hear somebody say you need to make sure you have some nickel in your diet.
Oh no, I've never heard that.
Right, but nickel is, it's needed in very small amounts, and usually if you're eating natural foods, you're pretty good, right? But that's not always the case. So, and nickel is a cofactor of B vitamins, right? So when I was saying, like, sperm count, mobility, sperm motility, and all that kind of stuff. That's crucial. Also for the fetal development and all that kind of stuff, heart development, right? But on the flip side, nickel deficiency is one of the contributing factors to infant mortality.
Mm.
Yeah, so just not having enough nickel as a mom can cause your child to, pass.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something that they don't even discuss that. Forget
Wow,
about
that's
all the stuff that they do discuss. There's things like nickel that they just don't even mention. They don't even mention nickel to you. They just like people. I tell people like, yeah, you need nickel. They like, what do you mean nickel? Money? Money? I'm like, no, 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 no. The nickel is based on the element nickel, like it's an actual thing. I never
I was
heard of it, so I think you're making this up. You know what I mean? But it's nutrition. Just it's small amounts. You know what I mean? But there's such a variety of stuff we eat on a regular basis. But birth defects are real, and a lot of the birth defects can be traced back to malnutrition. So on the flip side, it's easy to picture it if you just think about it. Common sense, you don't even really need much science. You're designing a whole entire human in your body, which means that you need all of the raw material that the human body is composed of in your body so that you can build this human. If you don't have some of the materials, your body's not going to stop building the baby. It's just going to be built without whatever that whatever those components are, whatever they needed to build. So it gets really crazy to make sure. So people that's just living their life, fast food, we in because typically the age of people making babies, it's young. You know what I'm saying? Late teens, early 20s, late 20s, possibly early 30s, but it's in that window from the late teens to the early 30s that most women are getting pregnant. And it's typically that same window where you're trying to live your life. You know what I'm saying? You out, you're trying to hit the bar, get a few drinks, you know what I'm saying? Put on your little shoes and, make a little move. So, yeah, put on your little shoes and make your little move. But it's at that time in your life when you also trying to find yourself business wise. You might still be in school or just you got a new job, so you're trying to do your thing and get promoted and move. So you're juggling a lot. So a lot of times people sacrifice some of the most crucial things in regards to pregnancy during that window, which is sleep and food. Yeah, I'll get some sleep later on. I'm on my grind right now. I sleep later. I'm on my grind right now. And then because you got to take time to go shopping to buy food, then you got to cook the food. You know what I'm saying? And, wash the dishes and dishes come into play and all that kind of stuff. And people's like, look, I'm going to go right over here and get me some food real quick. I can eat that stuff on the go and throw out everything I eat out of. Like I could throw all the styrofoam and all that right there in the trash. Keep it moving.
Oh my!
I have nothing to worry about. So yeah, so the convenience, that comfort zone. We've created a synthetic, comfortable bubble that we live in that is very problematic to our health. And it works great for the corporate structure on both sides, right? So on one side, buying the things that make you comfortable works for the corporate world. But then on the flip side, as that comfortable bubble begins to make you sick and you come down with different issues, that same corporate world is going to sell you some solutions, which are also going to benefit, so it's something that we really got to look to take care of ourselves on. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. Would you say that the deficiency in the mothers can be a reason for like generational issues, like all of the women lose their teeth at a certain age, or all of the men start to, because of those deficiencies that they lack creating them. If my
Oh,
mother couldn't give it to me, and then that mother and that mother, it doesn't obtain itself. It has to be
no,
restored.
I would say there's a small there's a combination of things when you're talking about those types of problems.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of stuff which is blamed on genetics is really based on the inheritance of lifestyle.
That's what I'm saying.
Right.
Like
But what I'm
it's
saying is
continuous.
it's not necessarily the deficiencies that are present in the mom when having the baby. It's the mother passes her culture to the baby. So whatever the mom eats and whatever she doesn't eat, usually the baby will grow up and eat and not eat those same types of things. So whatever leads to mom having really long hair or being bald or whatever the case may be will contribute along with genetics.
Along with those.
So there's a portion of it that's genetics. The sins of the father will be passed down to the children 7 generations deep. That's what the Bible will say about it. Scientists will tell you it is epigenetics. What we do in this lifetime affects the next couple of generations of our children. Science and the Bible both agree. They just word it differently. But there's definitely an aspect of you passing down faulty genes. But then there's an aspect that's labeled as faulty genes that's really not. We just pass our bad habits down. So if we eat chicken and we eat French fries on a regular, soon as that child gets 2 years old or 1.5, we feed them right off the table chicken and French fries. If we eat pork and like we wake up in the morning to have us some pork, bacon, and some eggs, soon as that child can chew, sometimes before then, because we'll chew it up in our mouth first and then put it in the baby.
Ew. Oh, that's nasty.
That's what people do. So they table food their baby immediately. So the crazy stuff that we're eating, I seen in Philadelphia, and the girl told me mind my business. I seen in Philadelphia a woman, her baby was on the bottle. He must have been maybe, I don't know, I would say probably 11 months or something like that, 12 months. Man, she poured like the bottle is like 8 ounces. She poured probably 2 or 3 ounces of water into there and then filled up the rest with a Pepsi. And
Oh man. Oh man. Oh look.
I was like, that baby too young for that. She said,
I'm
mind
not
your business. This ain't your baby.
too young. First of all, ain't nobody old enough for that. That soda shouldn't be drink. Shouldn't be what? Like how about that? And I've seen mothers get that to their children straight. I've seen that.
I
And
trained at Broad and Olney in Philly. And I'll never forget that. Like I'll never forget that. That was crazy.
You know what? When you really love children, or when you know what something can do to somebody, and you really care, it is traumatizing watching it, and you can't do anything.
Yeah, it definitely throws
No,
you.
it is. No, it is, because I've seen stuff like that too, and I've definitely said something, and I just wonder, like,
now
with,
here's the thing. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
no, go ahead. I was just I was about to get in my feelings. Just children dealing with that, how they wind up in school, and then they're paying for the stuff that their parents are putting on them. How does your brain develop being fed that, being given that
Well,
on a daily basis?
here's the thing. It's a double-edged sword, right? It's a double-edged sword because usually, if you're feeding your any month-old baby, right? Because we count months till probably 2 in most cases. You're feeding your any month-old baby soda. That tells me you don't really have patience for a child, right? So technically, you're probably going to be yelling and probably whoop your child for things that you should probably be. I'm not saying you shouldn't whoop your child every so often, but I'm saying sometimes a little patience is required, right? And typically, if you're giving them sweeteners at that age, they're going to be. Sugar is 8 times more addictive than cocaine. So let's do it like that.
Mm-hmm.
Sugar is 8 times more addictive than cocaine. So if you're giving them sweeteners at that age, they're going to be addicted. So that means he's definitely going to want, like Fruity Pebbles or them things, them Pop Tarts and all that kind of stuff for breakfast, which only last in the system maybe 30, 40 minutes tops of activity. Then the child is down and they're going through withdrawal symptoms. So they're going to have an attitude, slugging down in the chair, probably facing away from the teacher. The teacher's like, hey, Joey, what are you doing? Mind your business. Joey, I'm going to call your mom. Well, call my mom then. I don't care. And that whole program is usually based on sugar. That whole cascade of bad behavior. Because then when some of the other children look at Joey and laugh, Joey gonna be ready to fight, and that whole thing starts with biochemistry and then his neurochemistry, right?
Yeah.
So, and then what's gonna happen when they call Joey's mom is Joey's mom's gonna be pissed. He's getting punished. He's getting whooped. He's getting yelled at. And the reason is actually because mom is buying. She's the one in control of the shopping cart and the purse. So she's buying him the food that's creating his behavior, and then she punishes him for the behavior, right? So, it gets crazy.
And that's why these platforms should be used for the informing, the use in the light of informing our people, especially the mothers first, because we're the first teachers and the first nurturers. So not only do you physically get nurtured by me, when you come out, you internally are nurtured by me first. So it's if I do a poor job from creating and then to building you up, that is horrible. Like you don't stand a chance. What type of nation are we building? A nation of just weakness. That's what it is. And at the extent and at the mercy, of our own protection, of our own education. Like you can go but so far with what is not there and what you're limited to, and it's because of the women, that are bringing you in and that are raising you up. So I mean, it's important to me. It's very important to me because there are things that if I would have known, then, oh my goodness, I definitely would have did it. It wasn't a matter of me not wanting to do it. I just didn't know. I was buying the best of what I thought would be the greatest for my baby or for the state of me, rearing my child. I was taking my prenatal vitamins. I was taking my iron pills, which is straight trash. Prenatal pills are doodle. Iron pills are nothing but constipation blocks. Like they are just disgusting. They do no good, no benefit. They have no benefit for you. And a lot of mothers that think they're being good mothers, they take them. And the way I know they don't work for a fact is because I had situations that I needed to be able to clear from using them, and I wasn't clear. And as soon as I stopped, which I know I asked you and you said go to my site, but my own personal experience with the blackstrap unsulfur molasses, I didn't take that thing for at least a week, and my iron was all the way up, all the way up. And what got me to stop having heart palpitation with my last pregnancy, because I just was getting pregnant too fast. Like I come home, I deliver, and then I come home and I'm pregnant again. Like I wasn't wasting no time, and that's because I knew what I wanted. I wanted my children, all my children. I wanted, and um I was welcoming to that. Like I wanted that, but I didn't want it with the results of me losing what I was losing, and I didn't feel I was losing anything. I wasn't even aware that children pull that type of stuff from you, and you can become that sick. Your bones, you can start to lose bone mass. You can start to lose teeth. You can start to lose your hair. You can, lose your vision. Like I didn't know that stuff. I thought, I could be a good carrier, eat good, just eat, sleep, and be loved, and that baby would grow in all this warmth. Just ignorant, and it a lot of what our young people are dealing with especially in the hospitals, is really unfortunate, and I care a lot. Like, I care a lot. So when I see them and they're young, especially young couples, I want to start from the place of them knowing what they're bringing into this world, knowing what they're forming together with each other. So I want to make sure that, which I'm trying to form a late, so they can have, baby showers, so that the mother is graced, and there's all types of traditional and ritual stuff done with her, so that she knows how to bring that baby in right, and that she's catered to the same way, and the father is done to him too. When we have those showers, they often focus only on the mom. Both of them created this child. Why do we not give that same honor to that father and allow them to feel that welcoming, so that they can welcome that baby the right way? You know, I think that that shower needs to go for that father as well. He needs to be prepped on what he's going to be dealing with. It's like almost like we treat him like he's supposed, like the men are supposed to know. You know, a lot of y'all are not aware of what goes on with us, and not to say you, but there's enough men that really are not aware of the changes physically, mentally, or emotionally that occurs when women are pregnant. We're morphing and carrying another energy. We literally become that child. Whatever you see that woman become, that's your baby you're watching. You're not watching her. You're watching your child. Whatever she's eating, you are looking at what your baby is going to like. But a lot of people, a lot of parents, not even the mothers, know that. I know that only because of experience and how much I connect. And I was like, oh snap.
The cravings are largely nutrient based. So a lot of times, like I know my children's mom, her cousin is a nurse. Let me tell you how funny this is. Her cousin is a nurse, and she used to like be so proud of herself and bougie and all this her nurse thing. And so her my children's mom and her cousin, they both used to look down at my holistic health thing, like, oh, you're doing that little that little herb thing, you don't know
Little earthy thing over there.
now.
Natural thing.
Right. I found out Cheryl, that's her name, Cheryl, was eating baby powder.
You dead wrong.
Yo, he was eating baby powder.
Baby powder
for her two babies. You know what I'm saying? She got pregnant twice. She was eating baby powder, and she didn't know why she did it. And I'm like, yo, you're the big bad nurse. How come you don't know why you eat baby powder? Like, too much cravings for baby powder. I'm like, that's because it's a crude form of minerals. Your nutrition, your nutrition. Oh, well, I'm taking the approved prenatal, whatever. I said, well, obviously it's not doing the job because
you eating powder.
So a lot of the cravings that women have, mostly of them are most of the cravings are all nutrient based, and your body is just trying to tell you how to get some nutrients in. A lot of times the ice cream is really just like a salt and calcium, something to that effect.
This is what that baby needs too.
Yeah, so if you have the nutrients, you won't really have the craving. So even with the like the molasses, I mean, I'm just not a fan of the molasses, you know what I'm saying? But if people get
I just have only like experience with it, so like
it's not good for your stomach and your stomach lining though.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm not really a fan of. So but there's levels to this thing, like Meek Mill said. So
no, let me know.
Blackstrap molasses, right, versus iron deficiency going into pregnancy. All right. It's better to have you some blackstrap molasses than not have, so but if we can go to the plant kingdom and get the iron in a better way where we don't have any downsides, that's always the best way to go.
More preferable, like
but,
some purple
but it's levels to it, because some people think like, oh well, Inky was saying that blackstrap molasses is not good, so I'm just not going to have anything. You probably want to make sure, like, by any means necessary, get them levels together.
I get you. Like, that's not the best thing, and I'm trying to give you what would be best to be up in your system to create the best mineral intake.
Definitely have something, because not having anything is definitely not. You know what I mean? So
But yeah, my uncle's wife used to eat red clay, and she used to want it just like that, red clay. And
yeah, now everything with the clays, right? Because I know that's a southern thing.
mhm,
And it's a gift and a curse, right? Because the clay, they have them down south really a lot, like naturally. You can stop at some gas stations and they'll have some clay for you for sale. Um,
wow.
you gotta be careful with the clays, right? Because see, this is where a little bit of biochemistry, like you gotta know how this stuff breaks down and what's happening in your body with some of this stuff. So just because they've tested clay and they're like, oh, well, clay is really mineral rich. There's a reason clay is mineral rich. The reason is because clay is like a mineral stealer. You know, clay grabs and pulls minerals. So I personally wouldn't suggest anybody eating any clay during their pregnancy, right?
Mhm.
Now, if we're taking 6 months, 9 months, 12 months pre-pregnancy to get our body together, by all means, do your red clays, your brown clays, your bentonites, like get that all in during that prep phase. Um,
Mm.
in an organized fashion. You don't want to be taking minerals and then also taking the clay at the same time because it'll bind. You know, it's some of the stuff that we know about activated charcoal. Some of those properties apply to clays, like they'll bind to minerals and pull them out.
Mm.
But
Yeah, because I'm
the
with the
clays
staff.
can
So
be very, very good though with good timing. You know what I'm saying? So, it's a lot of stuff out there. You know what I mean?
well, being because first of all, I wanted to get into well, not get into. I just wanted to go over the nickel thing because yeah, definitely that's not a rare question. I think you would get when you mention nickel and us needing it. Somebody saying you're talking about the 5 cent nickel, or you're talking about silver. Is that what you mean? But because here, it being symbol Ni and having atomic number 28 on the chemistry chart, which they actually have that as a just because I know you one of those type of daddies. They have the chemistry element chart, periodical chart for curtain in the bathroom. I used to have it in my bathroom for the children. That's like super fun. You could just go and just be like, oh y'all,
No,
let's
you have
just
that hanging around the house because it puts it in everybody's mind subconsciously.
yeah, right. And it's a shower curtain and I can't find it. I had it once. My mom has it now, and I'll probably take a picture of it and post it up. But um the atomic number is 28, and it says here that in humans the lack of nickel has not been sufficiently tested, so they always say, right? But symptoms in animals include slowed growth, reproductive changes, which you said just because you don't have enough nickel, you can actually lose your lose your child. And it says and altered lipids, fats, and glucose levels in the blood. So, you're on point. And there's a lot that we don't know. And because of that lack that we don't you know, and we don't have enough privy to. And I say privy because when you go into these clinics and these hospitals, they're not giving you that information. That might be in some private, clinics or hospital where, those that are paying a little more get a little more exclusive treatment. But and testing at that, because that's another thing. When you get the CBC test done, or when most people get CBTC test done, that's a panel test to test for the functions of the kidneys, the liver, the pancreas, the different organs, that how they are functioning, your cholesterol, your DH, what DHC levels, if I'm saying that right? But um when you go to get those panel tests, if you don't know what you're looking for and they don't do it, when it comes back, you just viewing something that, huh?
The DHA.
Thank you, DHA. And then there's a test that is actually done for cholesterol that is a little more intense than a regular, cholesterol level, and it actually defines it
Let me tell
actually defines
you know what's a good healer for your boobs, your nipples?
what? Oh, them things. Shoot, you know
Breast.
you know what got these things back?
What?
Let me tell you. Guess. I'm gonna give you 3 shots.
I don't know, but I would say breast milk is good. Um, breast milk is good. Salt
You,
water is good.
you think it's breast milk? You think it's breast milk that healed them?
Breast milk is good.
But do you think it's what healed them?
I
Say
don't
yes.
know.
Trust yourself.
I don't
Trust
know what
yourself.
you're gonna say. I don't know what to expect from you right now.
Trust yourself. You the bomb. Listen, breast milk healed my nipples,
Wow.
and I didn't. And
Oh,
I didn't know that what I was actually letting off would actually heal what was damaged
no,
because I couldn't
listen. I didn't know you was gonna say that, but that's how the body is designed. Your body is so efficient. Like,
heal myself.
yeah, the
Yeah.
breast milk is got all of the healing properties in there because
Everything.
babies is gonna be rough. You know what I'm saying? And then you're supposed to breastfeed up until they got teeth and all that. So
Shoot. Listen.
so
Let me tell you.
your body's prepared for rough housing when they start teething and they want to bite you and chew you. So the breast milk has some soothing stuff in there already. And then
Oh no, ain't no, ain't oh no. My baby wasn't just biting. My baby was doing this, grinding on my nipple. No, you ain't ready for that. Let me tell you, all the mamas out there.
for that.
No, that's something. No. I was like, oh snap. And he was doing it literally like with the sharpest teeth that were in. I was like, oh my goodness. I can't. Let me tell you though what.
That's when you got to give him that finger and pop him right over there. Boop.
Oh, you listen.
Yeah,
You
you got to
want
give
it.
him that finger, get him up off of there. Boop. Get your butt.
Oh, but let me tell you, he wouldn't stop. And I wasn't gonna stop nursing him. So this is what I found. And I got this from the nursing coach. They're called nipple guards, and they're clear and they're thin. And you put them right, you have to be sized for your nipple. You put it right over your nipple and you put the baby on, and he could do whatever she wanna do all day long. And you could listen, take a bite out of you can take a bite out of the crumb if you want to, but you won't tear my nipple off. So yeah, it's called nipple guards. And I think so many more mothers, if they knew that there were nipple guards out there, and it's shaped like a nipple, so you can put it over and help the baby to be able to feed when you're in pain or if you're not feeding properly. And I think that would stop more of the mothers from not wanting to feed because a lot of them don't have enough support. They don't know, they're not putting the babies in the right position. The babies are not feeding properly. And for a baby to feed properly, FYI, you need to have that baby's mouth over your whole areola. And some women have larger areolas than others, and some are smaller. But the whole areola needs to be in the baby's mouth. So a lot of women, they lean over and try to bring themselves into the baby, but no, you just need to like cause that reflux in their mouth. So you kind of like do this so they could just like spaz open. And when they do that, you just bring them forward and make sure, but with a little bit of help, that the whole breast, that the whole nipple, that whole the darker pigment is all in their mouth, so that when the nipple goes to their mouth,
Can get
it's
to
back
that
to the
base
throat.
at the top of their mouth, because then they can press it with the tongue. It makes it easier.
Yeah, and they can get their tongue under, and then the nipple could get to the back because it needs to the nipple in their mouth extends to the back of their throat. That's how dope nursing is, just everything. And you know that they're drinking because you can see, you have to watch them here. It go it'll look like they're gulping down. And how you know that they're not just like sucking for comfort, and they're feeding because they're like pass out and they'll just open up and just fall out. And you look at their stool. That's the second thing. Look at their stool and their weight. You pay attention to their weight because nursing milk actually changes according to the baby's weight. It changes for the baby. So at 6 months, that mother's milk is not the same as it was when that baby first came home. That milk changes according for that baby. And it doesn't matter if you skip the month. That milk changes for that baby. And I noticed because my nursing milk is how I got rid of my son's jaundice. And he caught it, he had it bad to the point where his riboflavin started to go down, and they were gonna put him on the which that's how I know that purple light therapy is bomb, because that's the light that they were gonna use to have to keep him in a hospital for they said over a month if his ribo not, I think I'm saying it wrong, but it's ribo something that it needed to go up.
Now listen to this.
And nursing milk got it up.
Yeah.
And I took it for milk.
Now wait, listen to this. I got a few minutes and then I got to get out of here. I got to get out of here in like 4 or 5 minutes. But check this out. They will tell moms that light, like for instance in jaundice situation, they'll use light to change the biochemistry, right? And you bore witness to that, right? You know that light can change the biochemistry because it happened with your baby, right?
Well, they wanted to, but I didn't need to go that far because my nursing milk brought it up and it made him shoot out all
they
the
broke it down to you and introduced it to you, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Right. Now, why is it that as adults, we pay zero attention to the light around us as if it has no effect on our biochemistry?
For real. Yep.
If it could literally dictate the behavior of your liver and kidneys when you're a baby, like what makes people think it changes when you get older? It doesn't.
Yep. And on top of that, because I know you said you give it a leave, I just want to get what you have to say about this mix for a natural baby milk. This is a tonic for a natural baby's milk. It makes a half a gallon, approximately 2 to 3 days supply for most babies, depending on the age. It's 1 quart of 100% raw organic young coconut water, available at most food stores, but you want to make your own. You want to get your own, or you may just buy the young coconuts, and that could get a little pricey, but coconut water, or which is better than Infamil and the other stuff. You're gonna the next thing is organic shelled hemp seeds, 1 cup, 1 tablespoon of sea moss. I would say purple sea moss, and you want to boil that.
Are you reading this from my book?
No, but I was shared. This was shared with me, but I know it probably isn't your book because you got it. You listen, my brother.
Oh, I have a book I wrote called Black Genetics 3, and it's all about babies. And it just sounds like you're literally reading this out of my book.
Well, listen, I would be honored to. And I'm gonna check it out to see what else is in there so I can share with the mothers that I do come in contact with. But this was just sharing.
I would say this with replacing baby formulas, right? I would go the extra mile for moms to try to get their own milk flowing and feed that baby.
Oh, absolutely.
I tell moms, like, if you already know in advance that you're not going to breastfeed, you might even want to rethink having a baby. Like, you need to just wait until you're ready to really be a mom. If you ain't ready to breastfeed, you're not ready to be a mom. You know what I'm saying? Now, if you want to supplement and add some stuff in with the breast milk, cool. But if you're not ready to breastfeed, I don't know, we got to get a little strict out here making babies.
Well, you know what? I know where you're coming from. You're coming from that real loving daddy place, and it's a little firm. But because I've seen so many women that are so broken, and I've seen this with my own eyes, they're ashamed of their own body. They literally, this is their mate. You made a baby with this man, and they don't want to pull their breasts out to breastfeed. I'm like, what the world? Listen, let me tell you something. It's really going on out here.
Men, get your life together. Do not even go for that. Like, don't even go for that. They sending you out to the store. You a co-defendant in that. You go in and get the Infamil. No. Tell her to breast out.
Get him. Listen.
Breast out. Trust me, because that's a lot of it's all the way around. Breast milk works better financially and for the health. Like the most nutritious thing you could feed the child is free.
Well, I
Why would
mean,
you not do that? Like this, it's crazy. Now you don't want to give them McDonald's and Burger King breast
oh, but
because
they'll go give them,
sometimes
you
we put
know.
a lot of emphasis on breastfeeding, but we're not making sure that the mom is getting the right nutrients in there to make sure that the breast milk is good. You know what I'm saying? So that's key
Yeah.
too. But listen,
Just
Sis, always a pleasure. I got to take my babies to like they got this class play they doing the Wiz, the Motown version. You know, we up here in Detroit, they got to go to acting class and all this other baloney. So peace to the family, peace to knowledge.
peace, my
You
brother.
already know, Sis.
That's right, Lino. Okay, I'm gonna just share this with you guys real quick, and then I'm out of here myself. That was the ending. All right, so to just give it off is the coconut. This makes a half a gallon, approximately 2 to 3 days. For most babies, depending on age, it's a quart of raw organic coconut water, 1 cup of organic shelled hemp seeds, 1 tablespoon of sea moss, preferably purple. Um, you can actually refer how to make the sea moss. Why? Because the sea moss has calcium, DHA, and omega fatty acids that are needed for brain development. All right. People think that this stuff can't come out of natural herbs and alternatives, and it does. It actually the first places that it come, and the best places, best sources. 7 to 9 or organic dates pitted according to the sweetness desired. Dates are very high in the nutritional value that's needed for the babies. They create the sugar, the sweet. One naturally, 1 serving of powder red nutrition, 1 serving of greens, found in the health food store, and this is actually like a container you can get of powders you can put in the milk. Um, per spring water, but some argue what kind of water. Just make sure that the water has a pH, of 7. If you can go and you can buy the testers and use a Brita filter. My one of my girlfriends, she works for the Department of Mental Health and Hygiene. I mean Department of Environmental Protection, and that's one of the preferable uses of testing filters that they use for the best Brita. So some of you buy those really expensive things for no reason. And the pure spring water use that to make 2 quarts. It says pure spring water here, but again, just make sure your water has a pH of 7. Like there's a lot of foolery with the water stuff. Place all ingredients in a blender and blend on high speed until the hemp seeds are very well blended, and add enough pure of the water to make 2 quarts of milk total. All right. It can what Okay. All right. Make sure that it's like in, milk content so it don't, block the baby's digestion. You store it and strain it. If you be extra, you can use a cheesecloth, to strain so that you make sure that like milk that, is really where it needs to be for the baby to digest. And you can freeze it in a glass jar, 2 quart pitcher for 2 to 3 days. And or store it in a usable breast milk storage bags if you're not breastfeeding, and give it to the baby. I will put this up on Facebook. If you want to contact me or get in touch with me, Shaniquewa Lino. On Facebook, I have the group Ancient Heart Readings, and I also have the group Conscious Movement with the Tree of Life, and Ancient Heart with the that's my readings in my spiritual group with the blue azurite stone. So if you want, again, you can get in contact with me that way, and I'll post a picture and the information. And I have another baby formula milk as well that I'll share there too. Besides that, for those of you that are interested in becoming doulas, this is the website that you can check with for free doula training that they do have in the city. And 1 or 2 of these locations and places will do it for free, but you just have to live, I think, one of them in the city in Brooklyn or the Bronx. And if not, they have another that I believe they take people out of state. All right, and it's free. In New York, I know a sister that got her doula certification from there. Okay. The website is freeandlowcostdoulas.com. Free and low cost doulas, DOULAS.com. And you should see a pair of glasses, and then there's a little like bucket of like this perennial perennial flower, and it says doula groups, okay, and it has a hoax of the groups and locations and the numbers to them, and so that you know you on the right page, it should say free sliding scale doula services. Beneath that, there's another link for Bronx Volunteer Doula Program, Northern Manhattan Perinatal Partnership Doula Program. That number is 212-665-2600, extension 323. Ancient Song Doula Services is another one. That number is 917-947-8933 or 8934. And again, that information website, free and low cost doulas.com. There's a more information that I wanted to share, but I think our time is up. I want to respect the brothers page and time and be able for people to digest, you know, what we were giving out. It was a lot that Dr. Enki was giving out, very respectable healer and medicinal teacher of mine that I adhere to, and thank you for the opportunity, Knowledge Born Allah, for giving me the platform to share with Dr. Enki today. And let's please become more aware of how we are aware of our bodies, how to nutrition ourselves, our families, and how to make sure that, you know, our wellness we are aware of and put first at all times, and not in the hands and at the mercy of other people, all right, that may not know or may not have the best interest. Peace and love. Thank you all so much. And I'll share more information. Please do join my group or contact me at 347-310-3215. Love y'all all. Mwah. Brother, where you at? I want to make sure I say peace and love to you too. Are you in the back chat there?
I'm here, and we out of here.
Okay. All right. Did you am I good? Am I good? Or you wanted me to go on some more because you know I could, or be good?
Yeah, we good. Tell them to check us out in 2 weeks. You understand? Let me get the right date here. Right date on the 27th. We live on the 27th.
2 weeks, come back and check me out. 27. Peace and love. Mwah. Thank you so much. Love you much.
Peace.